And I have to talk about Arizona. And here's what I need to say about Arizona. I was pleasantly surprised about this season. Okay, and I can go ahead and say this because I'm not one of those fans who just jumped on the bandwagon because the team was good. I don't think even Arizona has a bandwagon. We're not like one of those teams that it has always been good, right, in football, right? The last time Arizona went to a bowl game was before the Eagles even won the Super Bowl. Bef- Before I even got married. The last time Arizona went to a bowl game, they had Khalil Tate as their quarterback, and they still had Rich Rodriguez as their head coach. Okay, that's how long ago that was. 2018, they had like 5 wins. 2019, they had like 4 wins because they hired Kevin Sumlin, who I just learned was like drunk the whole time he was at Arizona. It makes sense. And then in 2020, during the COVID season, Arizona went 0-6. Arizona didn't win any games that year. And that season culminated in a 70-7 loss to ASU in Tucson in like mid December. And that was like the lowest point as an Arizona fan, the lowest point. Luckily, Arizona fired Kevin Sumlin and brought in Fish, the head coach that we have right now. And every single year under his tutelage, I'm going to use the word tutelage now, Arizona has done consistently better. Their first season, I can say that I was a fan from being 1-11, losing to Northern Arizona, which there's no reason why you should ever lose to Northern Arizona. And then in 2022, they go 5-7, beating ASU for the first time in like 5 years. And as a fan, you're starting to say, I got some confidence in this team to kind of go upwards. And then this season, starting the season out with Jaden Delora, who I always make fun of Jaden Delora. I have one thing I need to say about Jaden Delora at the end of this video. I always say this about Jaden Delora. Jaden Delora is the kind of quarterback who like drops back, moves around, avoids pressure. It looks like he's gonna get away from it. He chucks the ball up and it gets intercepted. That is the tenure of Jaden Delora at Arizona. He was one of the biggest Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde person or player. And then he gets injured against Stanford. And then Arizona brings in Noah Fafita, like a true freshman. And I will say with 100% certainty that if Jaden Delora doesn't get injured, we ain't going to a bowl game. We might have gone 6-6. Yeah, that's just what would have happened. And through these games, defeating Stanford, barely defeating Stanford, by the way, which should never happen, but here we are, losing by 7 to Washington State, almost beating USC. We took USC to triple overtime. Defeating Wazoo, defeating Oregon State, defeating UCLA, defeating Colorado, defeating Utah, and then defeating ASU, which the Arizona beat 4 ranked teams, or when they played them, they were ranked, and now being in the college football playoff rankings, they were never going to get in there, but like being in the rankings and being like one game away from possibly being in the last Pac-12 title game, it's just a sight to behold because of how bad they were for like 4 straight years, not winning a single game in one season, to now being 9-3, having a chance at a 10-win season, we're going to a bowl game, being ranked in the college football playoff rankings, a 3-year turnaround, that's real exciting. And what that's going to do is that's going to make recruits want to come to Arizona. Right? That's going to put Arizona on the map. Okay, Arizona is no longer in the Pac-12. We're in the Big 12 right now. That's going to want to make people go to Arizona to play football. And you could say that that's what college sports is all about, right? Unless you're like an Alabama or a Georgia or a Michigan or an Ohio State, your team is probably not going to be consistently great every year. Sometimes they're going to have their bad times, right? College sports has parity just like professional sports. And I think that the important thing to understand here is that they never gave up. The organization, the program, it never gave up. And now you could say that the fans are reaping the benefits. I do have one thing to say because it's very important of me to say. There are still people in comment sections about Matt Ariza, the punter. They call him the punt god, right? The punter for San Diego State. Eventually, he punted for the Bills in a preseason. He's a really good punter. Was accused of R word. Everyone knows what R word is, and I made a video basically saying, hey, if he did this, then he shouldn't play in the NFL, right? And then I believe that even if he wasn't responsible, I still feel like the victim is truly a victim. Something bad happened to her, and I explained why twice. And people still continue to say, well, you need to either apologize or not apologize. Look, I'll do whatever I please. As long as I have certain beliefs, I'll continue to say them. If you want to make your own videos, it's pretty easy. You can do it anytime. But I just learned this about Jaden Delora, and I'd be a real hypocrite if I didn't come out and say this. If Matt Ariza was accused of these things, Jaden Delora actually did these things, which I did not know until like 2 weeks ago, that Jaden Delora was actually accused and pled to as a minor of doing like sexual battery and like choking the person out with another person when he was in high school. But the reason why nobody knows about this is because the records are sealed, right? And I didn't know this until after the Utah game, where he like threw a touchdown at the end of because it was like senior night and he was a senior and he was graduating, and it was his last game. They took out Fafita and they put him in. I was disturbed to say this because I actually rooted for Jaden Delora and didn't know this information. And let me just say that I do not condone these acts. Arizona claimed that they didn't know about it. Yeah, that I highly doubt that. Right? Like, I know that this information gets sealed, but I mean, come on. You knew about it. Pretty disturbed to know about this, but of course, like the university can say like can be ignorant about it because it'll look bad on them. I'm not very happy about hearing it, and I wish that there was more transparency by the university, and it's kind of messed up.